mental health therapist, and I also am something called the CCTP, which is a complex trauma professional. So I deal with complex trauma every single day. And one thing that we know about what trauma does is it changes the way we see ourselves. Now, every one of you, whether you think about big T trauma or little t trauma, right now trauma is a big word that people are using and what they go through. Okay, so to get started, I know we just had lunch, and so I want to get you moving a little bit so you don't fall asleep while we're talking, okay? So we're going to do an activity. Any of you ever heard of Plato's allegory of the cave? Yes. Wow. No? All right. It's a deep one, I'll tell you that, okay? So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to divide the room in two, back half and front half, and I'll direct you in just a little bit, okay? But I want you to imagine that you and a group of friends are traveling through the Amazon rainforest. And as you do that, and on your exploration, you come across a cave. And you're playing music in the jungle, right? So a group of friends are walking through the Amazon rainforest, and you come across a cave. And in that cave, you discover a group of people, a civilization that has never been discovered before. And for the first time in their entire existence, they are exposed to the outside world that you live in. So I'm going to divide you in half. Half of you are going to be the group of explorers, and half of you are going to be the people in the cave, okay? If you are in the cave, this is the first time you have ever been exposed to the outside world, right? Now, I use this analogy because we understand what the world is like, but if you really want to relate to what the fear probably is for those, is if a UFO dropped in front of your school and said, hey, I'm taking you to a different planet. Would you do that? Would you go? Okay, some say yes, some say no, right? Okay, so this is what we're going to do, okay? Back half of the room, you guys... Say what? Yeah, we'll talk about it. You bet. So back half of the room, you guys are going to be the explorers, okay? So if you're the explorers and you come across this civilization, for the first time they're exposed to you. What would you tell them about what the outside world is like? What can they experience? What can they look forward to? Are there fears that go with it? First time ever leaving their cave, would they do it? Would they not do it? You got it? Great. First half of the room. We'll divide it right here, okay? So you guys are explorers. You guys are cave. Okay? So, you have been in the cave your entire existence. This is the first time you have ever seen a group of people that look different than you, that talk different than you, that have different things than you, and you're exposed to a world that you have no idea existed. Would you leave or would you not leave? Now, they're going to try to tell you what the outside world is like. If you don't want to leave, why do you not want to leave? And if you're willing to leave, then tell me why you're willing to leave. Make sense? Yeah. Great. So why don't you take about 5 minutes or so, talk amongst yourself, and see what you come up with, and then I'm going to check in with you. Got it? Great. All right, here we go. Let's bring it back. It's not very loud. All right, bring it back, bring it back. Okay, we're going to start with the people in the cave. Tell me, some of you who are willing to leave the cave, tell me why you would. What comes up? What do you got?
I want to learn. I want to see new things.
Okay, you want to learn and see new things. So that means that life outside the cave
Could be better.
could give you more and be better than in the cave.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. What do you got?
I also think the same thing, but I would also be kind of scared because I would be afraid that since we're coming from such a different environment, the people that like seem to know more, the people in the cave are kind of gullible. So
Okay.
they would try to shape them into any kind of person you don't know what they would want to do.
Okay, so you want to leave the cave, but you're worried that the explorers don't have your best interest at heart. They could trick you or do something bad to you. Okay, you don't trust them or know them yet. Okay, valid. What else?
They're coming there with like clothes, and they probably got like cameras or phones, and like we don't got none of that stuff.
Yeah,
Okay,
everything
like-
in the outside world, right? They got shoes, they got media, social media, food, cultures, countries, sun.
Right.
Yeah, everything that the cave doesn't. Yeah? Okay. How about anyone who isn't willing to leave? Anyone who's going to stay? Why?
I'm gonna stay because one, nobody's gonna know your language because you ducked off in the cave. So
Okay.
nobody gonna understand you, and you don't know what's out there.
You got nobody can understand you, different language, and you don't know what's out there.
Exactly.
Very true. Yep.
And you're gonna be living the same lifestyle. 'Cause, like, you're not gonna have no job. Like you're gonna be living the same thing just in the street. Like, I mean, there's no point. Like,
I guess you could. You could live the exact same lifestyle outside the cave as in it. Yeah.
But if you think about it though,
and yeah, you might live better in the
if
cave.
you do think about it though, they do have to leave the cave to get food, so they know what outside is like. They just don't.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyone else? Would anyone else stay?
I would say don't fix what's not broken.
Don't fix what's not broken. Okay. All right. Yeah. What you got? Yeah, very true. So she said, we don't know what's out there, so we're leaving a culture and people that we do know to go to something that we don't know, and we have no idea if we're going to be accepted or not. Okay, true. One more. Who's going to stay?
I would stay because you don't know you don't know their intentions. So like they might take you to the outside world to go and like explore you.
Okay, you don't know their intentions, you don't know what they're going to do. Very true. Okay, explorers. What would you tell them about what life outside the cave is like? What do they have to look forward to or not look forward to if they decide to leave? Good.
I would first bring some of our cultures and ideals to them. So like they can actually see it firsthand. They don't have to just believe it from word of mouth. So it's like we can bring some people near the entrance of the cave or near them, that to them. We can bring different foods, different TV shows, different types of people as well. And they can tell their different experiences.
Okay,
And
great.
we can also attach language to that so we can speak with them easier. Because if there's two different languages, then with that we can talk to them more and understand them, and they can understand us, so that they can make the choice.
True that. So rather than just telling them, you're going to show them what life outside is like.
Yeah.
Okay?
Like, since there's two different cultures, we can introduce things to both of each other.
Okay.
They'll have different foods than us, we'll have different foods to them. We can share that.
Sounds great. I like it. Good. What else? What would you tell them about what life outside the cave is like?
Hey people, there's this very interesting thing called money.
Okay.
They will do practically anything for it, including doing you wrong. So.
Okay, money. You know, sometimes I really do wish we could go back to a trade and barter system. I really do, right? Okay, what else?
There are a lot of new foods that you could have. There are
New foods?
Shelters. There are people who pretty much help people who are or don't have anything I wouldn't mention murderers because like that they're in the wild, they don't mind murder.
Okay. Why not though? If we're telling them what life outside the cave is like, don't we need to also tell them what could go wrong too?
Like when I wanted to introduce everything, I mean everything.
Everything. Yeah. You bet. Okay. One more. Let's get one more.
You need to come right in there.
Quiet down. Quiet down.
I would not only introduce culture into the cave, but I would tell them that the world is beautiful, but people are harsh.
Okay.
Like my little brother, he's very harsh.
The world is good, but people are harsh. That they can be, right? Now, I want you to think about this, right? It's a metaphor, which means that if we talk about the cave, how many of you have your own cave? The place that you go to that you feel safe, that people can't touch you, that you know every nook, every cranny, every place to be. Now, the things about cave is while they keep us safe, they don't let us grow. We know how high we can grow from that cave by being in there. And what we do is we say, I'll tell you what, if you want me to leave into the outside world, I need you to promise me something, that nothing bad will happen, that I'll be okay. We can't do that. You're right. What I can promise is that something will happen. At some point it will. But what I can also promise you is that if I stand inside the cave with you and I say, hey, look, things are going to be tough along the way, I promise you that. But I'm here with you, and I'm going to walk with you. But the reality is that life outside the cave always has more than inside the cave. And we have caves in our life, within our family, within ourselves, within our mental health, in our heads. We keep ourselves safe emotionally because we're scared of what the unknown is, or what the future is going to bring. And we stay safe in our cave without letting ourselves grow. So why do we do that? Why is it better to stay safe than to grow when we know that growth is what we have to do, but it's terrifying about the unknown, right? And there's a principle that I'm going to teach you right now about why we do that. If I can get this going. But first, there was a book written by an individual named Sonia Luminowski. And she did a study on why people were happy. And this study spanned 3 generations. Your grandparents, your parents, and you. 3 generations of people that she interviewed and put it together in research about why people are happy when others are not. Okay? And she boiled it down to 3 things: environment, set point, and choice. So let's talk about that. Your environment, where you live, how you live, where you grow up, how much money you have, people that are around you, everything about your environment that would make you happy or not happy. The second one is choice. Do you choose to be happy? Now, you think you can choose to be happy? Yeah? Why do you say that?
Sometimes, like, I'll be upset over something really small, but I'm like, I don't gotta be upset over this, I'll just let it go.
Okay, so you have a choice about how you react, right? Now I hear a lot of times in my practice and otherwise, I'll get to you, bro, I'll get to you. I hear otherwise that people say, my emotions just come on, there's nothing I can do. I'm fine 1 minute and then bam, I'm depressed and I don't know what to do about it. Or bam, I'm anxious. And it comes out of nowhere and I can't control it. It controls me. Well, we have a choice about how we react to what comes up, right? What were you going to say, man?
Code switch, like, you do that, like, you can switch your code. Like, some people, you can be happy, and like, when you leave some place, you probably won't be sad or something.
You can switch it, but that means you got to take accountability for what you're feeling to do something about it, right? Okay, and the third one is what she calls set point. Now, set point is about kind of where your starting line is. Do you ever know people in the world that just wake up grumpy? They're just grouchy, right? Crusty all the time. My grandma was that way. But she was a lieutenant colonel in the Army. So she didn't take anything, right? And then there's other people that wake up and you're like, you're on something because you're way too happy. So either you're happy and optimistic or you're the opposite, right? What's your set point? And there's things that we do to help with that. Community, support, therapy, medication, friends. There's things that we do to increase our set point, and choice is going to be part of that. So let me get to this. 10% of our happiness, 40 and 50%. So how much do you think 10% of our happiness is equated to? Which one of the three is 10%? Environment? Okay. Any other guesses? Okay. Environment is 10%. Now, is that the opposite of what we're told, right? I will be happy when I got a Lambo. I will be happy when I got 100 grand. I will be happy when I got the new Jordans. I will be happy when I get rid of my Panda Dunks. Whatever it makes you happy, that's what we associate to, right? I will be happy when my environment changes. Okay? How about 40%? 40% of our happiness is equated to set point or choice. Okay. Choice. 40% of your ability to be happy is based off of how you choose to respond to your environment. And it doesn't matter how your story started, you get to choose how your story ends. Some of your stories, you didn't choose how it started for you. And maybe you don't get to choose how it's going right now, but you do get to choose how it ends, right? We heard from Brandon earlier about how his story started and now how he's choosing to end his. Same for me. I grew up with a single mom who left an abusive alcoholic father when I was 1.5 years old. We don't get to choose how it starts, but we do get to choose how it ends. Okay? Which leaves the last one, right? Set point. 50% of your ability to be happy on a daily basis comes down to your daily practices. What you choose to think, do, participate in every single day. Growing up, I had a sign above my door when I left every single day. And as a teenager, I thought it was the dumbest sign in the world until I became a dad. And that sign says, "Show me your friends and I will show you your future." Because the people that you associate yourself with will largely dictate who you become. If you want to run on the streets, do it. That's who you'll become. If you want to be more than that, you can choose to be more than that. But it's who you surround yourself with that's going to take you there. Okay? Now, I need a volunteer real quick. Here we go, right here. So, talk about lenses. I gave you the first one right here. I will figure it out. There are two statements that the people in the world who are the most positive, the most optimistic, say to themselves when they experience tragedy or trial. And the first one is, "I will figure it out." Those people who are most resilient, most strong, most hopeful, no matter what they face or what they deal with, they say, "I'll figure it out. I can do it. I'll figure it out." Okay? Now the second one, right here. I'm going to get you guys some participation. So, I got a keychain that says determination. And I want you to give me the second one. What do you think the second phrase is that people say? Life sucks? Probably not. So what is it? Okay, I can do it. Close. Close. Keep going. Okay. I got hope. I like it. Say what? Terminate. Okay. I'll get through it. Okay, that's super close, right? Huh?
I don't need any help.
Okay, we always need help, but I get that. Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
Oh.
Golden by Shirley.
Yep. Huh?
Golden by Shirley.
Okay, all right. A lot of different language, right? Okay. How about, in order for somebody to figure out how to get through a trial, you have to believe something about yourself in order to go through it. Okay, I'll give you that. Close. So, second statement is, no matter what happens, I will be okay. A lot of times in life, we feel like the things that we go through, the trials we face, the tragedies we are part of, we won't be okay afterwards. It will change us forever. The two most optimistic statements that anyone makes is, "I'll figure it out, and no matter what happens, I will be okay. I will be okay. We'll get through this." Okay? So, I need a volunteer real quick. Give me a volunteer. want you to put these glasses on. Replace them. Yeah, or put them over, whatever you want to do. All right. What color is the room tinted? Red. I give you red glasses, right? Now, if we are looking at the exact same thing right here, what color is this?
Black.
Black. You can see that? Okay. What color is her hair?
It's a what?
What color is her hair? All right. You're pretty good at this. Pretty good at this. You're ruining my point, man. No, I'm just playing. Here's the thing, though. The lens that you are tinted in is red, right? Sometimes if we stare at the same thing, we're going to be looking at the same thing, but the lens that you are seeing them in is tinted and changed because whatever your experiences are. And this is the reality of how we see the world. Every one of us has a reality of how we see our world, and it's tinted by the experiences we go through, the trials that we face, the beliefs about ourselves, and first and foremost, how we view ourselves as an individual. The experiences early on in life, and there is a lot of research behind this, that our early childhood experiences influence how we see ourselves in the world around us. Okay? All right, I'll trade you. Thanks, boss. Okay, so what changes our experiences? What creates this lens that we look at the world in? Because every one of you has your own lens. We could be talking about the same thing, looking at the same thing, participating in the same thing, but we experience it different because of the lens that we look at the world. Which is often, in my opinion, why the world is so hateful right now, is because we can't agree on the same lens, rather than saying it's okay to have different lenses about things. So why is it? Why is it that we look at the world in the lens that we do? And I'll tell you why, because this is one of the main components right here. Is a principle called pain versus hope. And this is how it goes. Most of the time in life, we wait for pain to increase, thinking that it's going to motivate us to do something different. I will eat right when I'm unhealthy enough. I will do my homework when I procrastinated enough. I will go to school when the teacher's yelling at me is bad enough. Right? I'll leave the house when the fighting gets bad enough. We always say this principle, right? Same with therapy. I'll go to therapy when I'm depressed enough, or my relationship is bad enough. And what happens is that we live according to a principle of pain. We wait for the pain to increase, thinking it's going to push us in the direction of what we want to do different. Okay? Now, I spent years working with an organization in Denver, Colorado, doing therapy for women coming out of sex trafficking. The one thing that I've learned is that pain becomes normal. You get used to it. And suddenly, the pain that you have around you doesn't motivate you anymore. You accept it. That's just how my life is. That's just how I came into it. That's just me, right? And what we do is we wait for pain to push us. What if instead we let hope pull us? Because the only thing that is more powerful than fear is hope. Think about this. When you're hopeless or depressed enough that suicidal thoughts start to come in and you get hopeless, you see no way out. Hope is gone. I can't find it. In turn, hope is the one thing that is most strong to pull you out. No matter how dark it seems, is hope. So what if we let hope pull us instead? What if he said, you know what, instead of saying, I will do this when it becomes enough, this is what I want you to do, every one of you right now. I want you to visualize the person that you want to be. No ifs, no buts, no environment, no don't have money, don't mom, no dad, you. Visualize the person that you want to be. Nothing held back. Where do you see yourself? What values do you have? Where are you living? Who do you have around you? That is what we call a projected ideal self. It is the image you have in your mind of who you want to become. And instead of letting pain push you into trying to be a different person, let the hope of who you can be pull you into becoming that person. So you say, you know what, I want to be the kind of person in life that is strong enough to have morals when other people don't? How are you going to do that then? You go, okay, well, if I'm going to be that person, then how does that person act? How do they get those morals? How do they practice living according to those morals, the values internally? And then I pull that back until I can start today. You could wake up tomorrow and say, if the person I want to be looks like this, then I need to become that person. And that will get you more change than any pain or fear ever will. Because it actually has the ability to change, where pain doesn't. There are thousands of people, millions of people in the world who are living in pain, thinking that if they can just get out of it, life would be fine, which is what we do. On a 0 to 100 scale, we say, all right, I'm going to sit between this 0 and 25. And once I get above 25, life's great, but then I self-sabotage and go back down. What about that 100? Why can't we live with that? We can, if you want to. Let hope pull you rather than pain push you. Now, this is the number one reason why we do it. The number one reason why we let pain push us is because we don't believe that we're worthy of that vision. Whatever your life experiences were, whatever you've gone through, whatever has happened to you. Now, like I said, I'm a trauma therapist, complex trauma therapist. If you can think of it, I have heard it. I've sat across from it. I've counseled it. I've cried with it. Everything. There is nothing that you haven't been through that I haven't sat across, and I promise you that. Being broken is not an excuse to stay broken. But you have to believe that you're worth it. You're worthy of it, and you can have it, which is the fundamental belief of self-esteem. So what is self-esteem to you guys? How would you describe it? If someone says someone has self-esteem or doesn't have self-esteem, what does that mean? Confidence. Okay, confidence in themselves? All right, like that confidence? Okay. You're sure of yourself. Okay, all right. What else?
You value yourself?
You value yourself? Yeah, I like it. Other definitions? You got confidence, you value yourself. Second that? Yeah, go ahead. Determined? Okay, I like it. What if I were to tell you that your self-esteem is actually a byproduct of your identity? If you don't know who you are and you don't love who you are, you can't be proud of who you are or have confidence in who you are. So fundamental to self-esteem is identity. It's you. Who am I? There's 4 questions that I ask to every one of my clients that I meet, and this is it. Number 1, who are you? How would you answer that if I asked, who are you? We often say our name, our interests, jobs, school, I'm a student, I'm this, I'm that. Who you are goes so much deeper than the labels you put on yourself. Who are you? Why are you? Why do you exist? Why are you here? What's the point of life? Why does it matter? Who are you? Why are you? How do you feel about who you are? And what are you doing about it? If you can answer those 4 questions, you will never be lost in life. Ever. Okay? But fundamental is your identity, who you are and how you see yourself. Your self-esteem is a byproduct of your identity. Because you can't love what you don't like, and you can't care about who you don't know. And if you don't know yourself, then you can't love yourself. And it's called unconditional worth. Anyone ever heard that term? Let me ask you this. You ever heard the word unconditional? If I love something unconditionally, what does that mean?
No matter what.
No matter what, right? Puppies are kind of loved unconditionally, right? Babies, not guys. But if I love it unconditionally, that means no matter what, there is nothing that has ever been, will be, or could ever be that will change the fact that I like it. right? So bring that into context. Unconditional worth. If I were to tell you that everybody here today has something called unconditional worth, nothing that you have ever done, can ever do, or will ever do will change the fact that you have worth. So what's your worth? Now, I can do a 4-hour workshop just on that. But this is what it comes down to. Every human being that has ever lived and will ever live deserves 3 things in life: to feel loved, to feel like they matter, and to feel like they belong. Those are the 3 things that every one of us searches for every single day. Someone to love us, someone to care about us, somewhere to be accepted, and to feel like we matter to anybody. But we have to matter to ourselves first. And when we don't, there's 2 principles that happen more than all: the chameleon effect and the ant effect. And I'm going to explain them to you right now, okay? This is it. The ant effect. How do ants act with each other? Maybe I'm the weird kid who just watched ants when I was little. What? They stay together. They're always in a line. They look the same. It's about the group, not the individual. Yep. No one's out of line, right? Now, this is what happens. Your values, who you are as a person, your integrity, your honesty, your discipline, who you are when no one's watching, the morals and code that you live by. When you have those things inside of you, the ant effect is this. Even if you have them and you don't say anything, let's say this, you're in school and someone around you is bullying somebody else. And you're like, man, that's not right. But I don't say anything because then I'm going to get picked on and I got to survive too. What happens is I violate my morals internally. And after so many times of doing that, I begin to go, well, do they really matter to me then? My morals become flexible. So by the time I'm an adult, I don't have any morals anymore. They're gone because I never lived by them. And the second one is the chameleon effect. Now, this is where we actually change our morals in order to feel like we belong. We are willing to do things that we never thought we would ever do because that person accepted us and told us to do it. Or we thought we would belong because